Hi, ladies, and welcome to our interview with Arnaecia Alridge. You are going to love this interview. She's got a lot of information to share with you. Arnaecia, welcome, and why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the girls?
Hi, girls. I'm Arnaecia Alridge, and I'm so excited to be speaking with all of you today and participating in this amazing virtual event.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Tell them a little bit about what you do and within your company and everything.
Yes, so I am the founder of Stunning Empires. It's a luxury marketing firm, and I pretty much manage communications and marketing for notable brands such as public figures, celebrities, and entertainment, beauty, philanthropy as well.
Awesome. And so how did you um because I'm like, if you're doing that for celebrities and everything, it's not like you graduated from college and got right into being able to do that. So
No.
how did you, what went into, what's the process of getting able to do that?
Well, you could do one option that I didn't do. I actually went to school for nursing,
Oh,
and I ended up being in this field by trial and error, honestly, just listening to myself, my interests, and kind of following my personality and what I really wanted. But a lot of people do have marketing and public relations degrees. I'm actually not one of those people. I actually started off working with a lot of small businesses. I mean, super small. Like literally, my first client that I ever retained, I think, paid us less than $200 a month.
wow.
So, and now we get paid thousands of dollars a month. So, you know, it's been a journey, but I think getting started is just really about figuring out if the lifestyle is for you. For instance, when I was nursing and working at the VA hospital, I worked on the spinal cord unit. So all of my patients were paraplegic,
Mhm.
and I loved it. I love biology. I love science. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna stick with nursing, and then I'm gonna end up being a nurse practitioner and open my own company one day, and go from there. However, I started thinking about, well, what is my long term goal? And does this career actually match where I want to be 10 years from now, 20 years from now? And so once I started thinking about that, I said there has to be another way. Although I love nursing, coming here every day from 6 in the morning to 3 p.m. on the same unit, doing the same thing, I just wanted more variety in my life and something that was more spontaneous and interesting for me. And so I chose a different route.
See, and I think that's really important to for the girls to learn about too, is the fact that it's like really following what your interests are and really um, taking the time to examine what are your goals, what do you really want to do and to accomplish, and then find and what skills do you have, and finding then that opportunity that matches and aligns with all of that, because there's the whole, what's that saying, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life kind of
Yes.
thing. And so it's just and that isn't something that always happens overnight. Like, you really do need to take time to think about it and to explore different options, to give it
Yeah.
a try for sure.
Yeah, and staying true to, who you really are at your core. When I was a little girl, I always remember saying, "Oh my gosh, mommy, I want to be just like this lady on TV, like a news anchor that
Mhm.
worked at ABC 13." And I'm like, I want to be a journalist. I want to write. I want to write for a magazine or something. That's what I said when I was like 5 and 6 years old.
Mhm.
And so, right out of high school, I did an internship at the Humble Observer where I wrote about sports and entertainment. Now, I'm not even a sports person, so I know nothing about sports, but somehow I wrote about sports and entertainment. So, one day during my journalism class, Wayne Dolcefino, he was an investigative reporter back in the day,
Yep.
and he came and spoke to me, and he said, well, you know that if you're going to be a journalist, radio or anything behind the scenes, you're probably only going to make about 20 something thousand dollars a year. And I was just calculating, like, I like nice things. I want to live in a really nice place. How can you pay rent if you make 20 something thousand dollars a year? And that really concerned me. So at that time, I decided to switch from journalism to nursing. And I love science, and I knew that nursing had a more promising financial impact at that time. I never thought about PR though. It just was something that wasn't really talked about in my environment. I didn't really know what it was. Marketing, it wasn't something, but now when I combine my personality, my interest, and the core of who I was at 5 years old, it all makes sense because I write press releases. I love to write. I love to narrate stories, the same that the news anchors do on TV. And I also love the selling part of pitching your stories, and I also doing good for the world. So I kind of married all of those together and found the perfect career that suits me.
See, and I think that's really important right there is really, ladies, for you guys to kind of take the time and think about it, because being able to marry all of those things, like what I want to do, like what I want to accomplish, how the kind of life I want to live, that kind of thing. What strengths do I have? What interests do I have? There is a career out there that will encompass all of that. It is a matter of finding it. And sometimes you just don't know about the career yet, like PR. I mean, like in marketing and things like that. I remember that the big push, again, dating myself here, but like the big thought with marketing was that it was advertising, was creating the ads and that kind of thing. And PR wasn't something that was really talked about that much. And so it's just a matter of doing a little bit of investigation and asking questions of teachers, of counselors, career counselors, attending events like this, that really helps you see and be able to find that career. I promise it's out there that encompasses all of that. So it's very awesome. So you talked a little bit about like the traditional path of going along and getting into like PR and marketing. But I really want to delve a little bit more. Like you said that you started with, really, really super small clients.
Mm-hmm.
What is that process though of like being able to get yourself to the level that you're at right now? Like what all does that involve? Was there special training that you had to do, or no, it's just, nose to the grindstone. These are the resources you need, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a great question. So actually, like I said, I ended up here. So I didn't know I was going to work with celebrities and public figures and big brands. However, some of the smaller clients that I was working with at the time, you see, when I was trying to really build my own business, I knew, okay, I really want to work for myself. That's the one thing. So I definitely knew I wanted to work for myself. So as trying to build my business, I would attend 5 to 6 networking events a week, just trying to make contacts, trying to get myself out there. So that would be my plan. So as I was going to these networking events and meeting those small business clients, I started working with them, and then they would have events or be a part of events that were partnered and that included some sort of celebrity affiliation at the event. And somehow I would always end up with the celebrity some sort of way, even if it was like, no, you can't have access to this or whatever. And I never thought I would work with them, but I just always ended up in the same space as them. And I just was helpful because I'm just a natural, helpful person. And I understand their perspective and how difficult it can be for them to maneuver around. So a lot of times these celebrities were traveling to Houston and they did not have a large team with them. So they would need help at the events. And I would just kind of be that person to help them out. If they needed to go get a drink, or if they needed to get more food, or if they needed to talk to someone, I would just be that person. And I never came off as a fan.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing. If you are interested in working with public figures, celebrities, or notable people, that's really just be yourself and never come off as a fan. And I was just my authentic self, and I think we bonded. And from there, I networked with them, and then they would see in like how I did my clients event, or they would see how I interacted with them and like it. And then they would in return ask me, hey, do you mind working on this? So I think what's really important, because over 90% of our business comes from referrals.
That's
We're very referral based. So how we are in our current event, our partnership, or initiative that we're pushing, it really impacts the people that we're working with, because 9 times out of 10, that's going to be our next client. And so from there, that's how I kind of built. I just made sure that I was always representing myself and the client that I was working with at the time very well. And the celebrity that was around would watch and see that. And then they would ask me to help them with other initiatives as well. And that still happens today.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And the fact that like the majority of your business comes from referrals really speaks very highly of the quality of work that you do. And I think that's really, you hit on a couple of things that's really important. I want to make sure that the ladies hear that, is that networking is hugely important. Whether you are going to have your own business, if you're going into corporate America, it does not matter. Networking is huge. You network within your own company, you network with other companies, other individuals. You never know who you're going to meet. And yes, maybe even in particular, the person that you're talking to right now isn't the person that you're looking for, or can't help you right away. They might know the person who can. And then the other thing that I really got out of your response too was to be that resource for people. You want to be seen as a resource, because then the reason why is, again, if you don't know the answer, that's okay. But if you know how to find the answer, that means that people are going to gravitate towards you. And that is something that just literally is huge in getting you advanced in whatever kind of career that you want to have. So 2 big things: network and be a resource. So that was amazing that you brought that out. Thank you so much. So what has been the biggest thing that you've struggled with then within your career, and how did you handle it?
I would say one of the biggest things definitely is not having enough capital. So starting off, especially being a woman and minority-owned business, the access to capital, especially back then, was a lot more limited. And so you can't just walk into a bank, or you couldn't just get money out of anywhere. So not having the capital, so I definitely had to look at, again, other resources to figure out how to get what I needed done. So I use social media as a free resource to really brand and grow our business. In addition to that, again, just forming those relationships to bring in more revenue, because I didn't have a lot of capital when I started. I started off with just savings. And so having revenue was a very, very important part of our business, because if we didn't have revenue, we didn't have anything, because we didn't have any capital to sustain us. So now looking back, if I can give advice to myself, it would definitely be to have more capital. Although what I did work, but there are other ways, crowdfunding campaigns, there are other ways to really get capital for your business. And especially now, the doors are a lot more open than they used to be. But definitely, I just had to be very resourceful, and I had to figure out how to do things myself. So I would be my own videographer. I would be my own photographer. I built my own first website. I just taught myself so many things. I taught myself how to do a logo, graphics. I threw my own events. I planned them myself. I just did it all myself because I didn't have the capital. But I love that, because now I know what every department in our company needs, and I understand their roles, and I can do a little bit of everything. And since I am the founder of it, just say, God forbid, if anything were to happen to the company, or if the company were to go down, I can build it back up because I know everyone's role and responsibility.
And I think that's really important too. And is knowing more about the company and everything. But the points that you really made there is all of the hard work that went into starting your company. Because I think right now, being an entrepreneur sounds really wonderful and fantastic, and it's glamorized. I mean, you've got Shark Tank and everything. So it seems like this wonderful, amazing world, and I get to be my own boss and everything. And it's kind of like, yeah, you are your own boss. And it's just kind of like, it's just a really, what would you say to someone who is, to a young high school student who is thinking about like, oh, I'm going to go out and be an entrepreneur and it's just going to be so wonderful. Like, what would be some eye-opening information that you would be sure that they know?
That's good. Let me give you two different perspectives. I have entrepreneur friends right now. One good girlfriend who just called me last week and said, why did I sign up to do this again? And I get that almost every week from one of my entrepreneur friends saying like, why did I ask for this? This is not what I want. It is not easy. It is not, it's all those things you said are great points. That's the glamorous side, but all of the not sleeping, and sometimes if you don't have capital, trying to figure out which expenses are you going to take care of, the business or your own. And it's a lot of sacrifice. I mean, lots of sacrifice to do it. So it is definitely not easy. It is something that you have to know, just like innately know within you that there is no other option out there for you in the world except for that option. And I think if you can really, truly say that, then I think that, okay, go for it. If you've exhausted, because I've worked in corporate America. Mm-hmm. I've worked in sales. I've worked in direct sales. I've had internships. So I've had all of this experience. I've gone to college. I know I have the experience. So now I have a well-rounded understanding of, is this my last and only option? So sometimes you can be in high school and say, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, or you can be in college and say, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. But until you have truly explored all of your options, I think you may want to really evaluate that a little bit more.
Absolutely. Like, even with starting Nerdy Girl Success too, it was kind of like, I didn't realize how hard it was going to be to start it, how much work goes into it and everything. So, you've got to really be sure that this is, that you're dedicated to your mission and everything, that you really want to do it. And realize too, that if that's the thing that you want to do, that there's ups and downs every day, every hour, that kind of thing. So just realize that too, if that's the path that you want to take, that's okay. But just realize that you're not alone in the whole, 1 minute you're on a high and then 5 minutes later, you're like, oh my God, why am I doing this?
That is so true. Because one moment you're just like, this is so awesome. I had a great accomplishment. And then the next moment it's like, wait, I have to do what now? I have a lot of crises too. So I do a lot of crisis management for a lot of public figures and celebrities. So that stresses me out. So it's also the stress of it, and understanding the complete role and circle. For someone like me, I'm on call 24/7. I have to be. I can't just say, I'm going to take a week off, or I'm going to turn my phone off for the entire weekend. I don't have the privilege of saying that because I do have a lot of clients that sometimes have crises. Anything can happen on any given day. And I need to be accessible and I need to be available. Mm-hmm. So understanding, if in your entrepreneur role, you may not have the option of going on a vacation for 7 days with PTO and coming back and not missing any money or anything happening. You still have to be in tune. You can't just really turn it off. So if you're the kind of person that is married to what you're doing, I always call it a marriage. It's a marriage. Mm-hmm. So if you're in college, or if you're older, or if you're getting married, this will be a second marriage for you, for sure. You'll be married to it. But I think that it's important to definitely, like you said, know that you're not alone. And if you're going to go this route, definitely surround yourself with other like-minded people
Mhm.
that are entrepreneurs or at least aspiring to be. Because one thing I found for me was very difficult for me to maintain a lot of relationships with more of my corporate America friendships that I had built or from childhood that work in corporate America now, because I needed a certain level of comfort that only other entrepreneur like friends or aspiring entrepreneur friends understood.
Mhm. No, absolutely, and I think that's really important too. And no matter what you're doing, is that you're really evaluating um, who's there in your circle, and really that's a special place to be, and to realize that as you're growing as a young adult through college, through careers and that kind of thing, that the friends that you have now may not be with you then. Um, and that's okay. They're growing in a direction, you might be growing in another direction, and that really is okay. But you've got to make sure that, again, that circle of people that are with you are in alignment with the lifestyle you want to lead, the goals that you have in mind for yourself, and that kind of thing. So, and it has to be okay. Sometimes it's sad, but again, it's like, where do you want to be, where you want to go, who's going to help you get there. So um
That's true.
I know. So, like, the last question that I have for you is, well, no, I'm sorry. I have two more questions for you. Just kidding.
Okay.
What's been the most rewarding part of this job or this career?
Oh, wow. Let's see. I think definitely being able to stretch myself and accomplish things that I didn't think I could do. Like, that's for sure rewarding, because it's like, I can do that. I didn't even know I can do this. So that's pretty rewarding for me. Also, being that trusted person for high profile people, because they don't have a lot of people they can trust.
Right.
So knowing that I'm a value for them and they can trust me. And I mean, I kind of feel like I'm a like a nurse sometimes, even though I'm not a nurse anymore, because I literally save their careers. I save careers all the time. Sometimes their career can go completely down the drain, but because of crisis management and understanding public relations, I'm able to help save someone's career. And for me, that is very important, because no matter what ups and downs or mistakes that I feel that we all as humans make, I just don't want to destroy anyone's career. And I think that's really a sacred thing to, no one just woke up and it was easy for anyone to just get from A to B. So I think that if people have worked hard to build their brand and their business, and they make a mistake here or there, if I can help be a part of saving their business and their brand and their career for them, then to me, I'm good. So I think that's very rewarding for me. And to a lot of things, although I work in entertainment, I always make sure that I tie that in with philanthropy. And so we're always not just creating stories that are entertaining, but stories that make a difference and that are life changing.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, if I can create a story that can change the world, that can give back to the community, and that can best serve someone else and make their lives better as well, then I think that's very rewarding for what I do.
That is amazing. And that's it's a wonderful skill to have, I think, to be able to do that. But also to be able to have the heart for doing that and really to be driven to do that. I think that's because there are a lot of people that are out there that's what's in it for me kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to be around people who have that bigger vision and wanting to give back and everything. So that's awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that you talked about how, like, I started out as a nurse and I kind of, fell into or, worked my way into being in PR. So when you first found out about this career of doing PR and you started working with small clients and that kind of thing, how is what you're doing now different than what you thought it was going to be?
Oh, that is a good question. Honestly, I initially thought that I would just help increase sales revenue. That's it. Just create a strategy to increase sales revenue and go home. Now I'm the assistant, I'm the agent, I'm the manager, I'm the friend, I am all of those things and more. So it definitely encompasses a lot more than what I've ever would have thought. Also, I never really, I guess, envisioned that I would be the person to like travel, because I was working with small businesses. I travel a lot too. I work a lot in California, I work a lot in New York and other places. And so to me, that's rewarding to work outside of Houston as well. But I definitely never imagined that I would be traveling and working, or in California and working on something in Houston by phone, or vice versa. And now with the whole COVID-19 and the quarantine, I've actually evolved into doing more like directing and content producing as well over the course of being in PR. So now I'm able to do that from the phone without having to be in places. I can direct directly from my phone virtually. So I never would have imagined that I would be just sitting in my bedroom directing content or directing anything for my phone while all the production is there and talent is there. So that's something very different. I never would have guessed that.
See, and I think that's a really important thing for everyone to kind of realize too, is that something's always going to happen. And it's always, and it can be small to really major, like what we're experiencing right now. Having the ability to adjust and be flexible is huge, again, in no matter what your career path is. From everything from something big like this, it could be, you know, your office is having to move, you know, how easily is it for you to adjust to that change, that kind of thing, or you've got new responsibilities now, your job has changed a little bit, new responsibilities. It's really important to be able to adjust and adapt to that. So and it's amazing too, because a lot of amazing things come out of that, you know, like look at all of the very cool things that you now get to do because you were flexible and thought about that and adjusted to needs as they were coming to you. Because you could have very easily been like, nope, sorry, that's not my job, you know? And instead you embraced it and went with it. And so you're now getting to do really amazing things like travel and deal with celebrities and everything. So that's very, very cool.
Yeah, I think it makes you more valuable too. So the more you learn other departments, other roles, or fill in gaps that need to be filled in, it makes you more of an asset, whether you are employed or you are the employer. It makes you more of an asset with anything that you're doing. So that's very important to always just, you know, pivot and learn more and develop other skills and say, oh, okay, I can do this now, or let me try this out. I mean, sometimes our road managers can't go everywhere with some of our clients. And then I end up being the road manager. And I'm like, I'm not a road manager, but I know how to do it. So those things are important, and it makes you more valuable in any career, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Ladies, be sure to scroll down a little bit farther underneath the video. There's a little bit of a written portion of Arnaecia's interview. And then below that is the comment section. So if you have any comments or questions for her, please be sure to put it in there and we will get them to her and then she can respond back to you guys. All right. Thanks so much. You guys have a great day. Bye.